Okay. Alrighty. So, yeah, as I said earlier, today I'm going to be going going and doing a tier list for all over the Trails games. So I kind of came up with this idea because I kind of wanted to. I'm trying to come up with more ideas to try and like branch out more, like kind of reach new audiences by having other types of content. So the idea that I came up with is trying to do some content that I'll upload also on YouTube. So I'm gonna make this segment as part of a YouTube video that I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna edit it down and make it more concise for YouTube. I thought might as well do this live as well if anybody cares to watch. So yeah, for each of the Trails games, I'm gonna be putting them here in the tier list. For this, I'll try and be as spoiler free as possible. We won't really discuss like any major plot points of spoilers because I know some people haven't played these games that are interested or they're still going through a lot of these games. So I'll try and keep that spoiler free. Also, I will be going in release order for this, so which is why I kind of organize it like here in the bottom. And also, as you guys can see here, I've already put through the games I haven't played yet. And for some reason, they have Nayuta on here twice. They also have Reverie on here twice for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm just gonna. But I'm not sure why they have it there twice. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, for the first game, we have Trails in the Sky. So, for Trails in the Sky, I'm going to put this on the B tier. Like I think overall this game was a decent game. Like it was the first game to like kind of start this whole entire series and arc. Uh, my major complaint with this game is kind of like the slowness of it. Like it really does like feel like one big prologue. A lot of people have also said that as well. Like it's like the 40-hour prologue. Not much really happens up until like the last bit of the game, and then kind of ends off in a cliffhanger. But I mean, it does kind of start like a decent foundation for like the world and everything. But at times, when if you're playing this for the first time, it might be a little bit hard to get into because like the slowness of the story, like it really does feel like nothing is happening for like the majority of this game. So you kind of have to look at it that way, and kind of temper your expectations when you're playing this one a little bit, and then kind of expect that things are going to be very very slow when playing it. So yeah, that one I will leave at the B tier. So now for Trails in the Sky second chapter. Now this one is a massive improvement over the first one. So this one I'm going to give an S tier. So in terms of like pacing and everything, this one is much improved over the first game. Like a lot things happen at a much better pace in this one. The story in this one is phenomenal. You get to learn a lot of interesting things about the characters in this one, like especially some of the villains. Like if you guys have, for those of you who played the game, you already know which villains I'm talking about. Like gives you really really great backstory. You get to see a lot of the characters like grow a lot. So like the main characters in this one, like Estelle and Joshua, they really really do grow a lot in this game and have to go through a lot. Gameplay wise, this is still pretty much the same as the first game, because I think this one came out like a year or so after the first game. Because initially both of these games are Trails in the Sky was supposed in second chapter just supposed to be one game, but they had so much content in it that this was into two games for time constraints and to make their money back. But yeah, so for second chapter, I will give that a S tier. Very, very good game. Highly, highly recommend playing this, but you do need to play Sky first chapter in order to play second chapter. You'll be completely lost if you don't play the first one. So that is something that I do highly recommend. So now for the next game, this one, like when this game first came out, a lot of people actually didn't like this game that much. But the narrative around it is kind of changed because of like kind of where it stands in the series for setting things up. So for Trails in the Sky the Third, I'm going to give this one an A tier. So when this game first came out, a lot of people really didn't like it because the game kind of changed things up drastically from the other games. So in this one, you're not playing as the main characters in the first game, Estelle and Joshua. You're playing as a side character from second chapter named Zach. So he kind of takes the reins in this one. And in this one, instead of going around and exploring different areas around the world in this one, you're kind of just going through like one dungeon. It's kind of like a one big dungeon crawler type of thing. And a lot of people didn't really like that at the time. And also as well, when it comes to side missions, like you kind of have to go through like these different corridors, which kind of do side missions differently in this game. So instead of having like a mission like the standard side missions like in the first two games, where you had to go through like a job board and told you, okay, you need to go and kill this many things, help a dude out with a person's problem. In this one, in the corridors, they had different ones where they had mini games. They also had like mini stories as well. So those stories were kind of like mini visual novels. So for those, you could spend up to like almost an hour just like going through and reading through like a character's backstory. And I can see why at the time a lot of people didn't really like this game, because at the time, like, it kind of felt like things aren't really going anywhere. But what a lot of people didn't realize at the time, which people now know, is a lot of the side stuff that they had in this game kind of gave the foundation about where a lot of the characters were going to do and what was going to happen, and kind of foreshadow what was going to happen in the later games, which kind of helped elevate it a little bit more. So when you start going through the other games, you'll start seeing the characters do things that might be a little bit confusing if you don't do the side missions. And in this game, because if you don't do them, it might seem a little bit confusing about like why they chose to go where they want to go. But this game kind of explains that a lot more and fleshes that out a lot more. And going through a lot of the side stories in this one, I did like a lot, especially the infamous one. A lot of people like to talk about Star Door 15. I won't spoil what happens in that one, but that one is pretty heavy. That side story in Star Door 15 is really, really heavy. A lot of fans they'll talk about it and say why. I'm not gonna spoil it here, because again, I'm not gonna try and go through spoilers about like each game in the series. So if you guys do want to kind of see for yourselves what that one's like, I do highly recommend it. Overall, though, I don't think this game is as good as Second Chapter. I still think it is still a pretty good game, but some things do kind of hold it back, like the whole dungeon crawling aspect of it. That is something that I felt they could have fleshed out a little bit better compared to the other games. But overall, I still thought it was a very, very good game. So I'm gonna leave that one in the A tier. Okay, so now we are going to go to the next arc in the series, which is the Crossbell arc. And this arc is actually my favorite arc in the series. So for Trails from Zero, this one is an S tier. The reason why is because the main cast in this game is my favorite cast in the series. The SSS in this one, the Crossbell Special Support Section, like all the characters in this one are my favorite characters in the series. Like getting to know them a little bit in this one, I found was very enjoyable. I thought the story in this one was fairly good as well. it is a fairly self-contained story in terms of what happens in this one. Like it does kind of lead some things for what's going to happen in the next game, but a lot of what happens in this one's pretty much just like a very nice self-contained story that wraps up fairly well, and it also does a good job of leading into the next game, which I liked a lot. Like I feel like over the past few games, like Falcom kind of failed at kind of like giving us like a decent story that is fairly like self-contained on its own, rather than always trying to focus on like oh yeah, always trying to focus on like trying to like set things up for the next game. I think this game did a good job about that. And again, the characters in this, the SSS are my favorite characters in in the series. Each one of them, I think, has a very good backstory. I think that they all play off each other well. They're all unique and diverse enough that that they all are interesting. They all pretty much get their time to shine for the main cast. I think the one character that maybe doesn't get as much time to get development in this game is probably Ellie. Like, she does get a little bit of development, but she isn't really focused as much as the other characters. But her story is still pretty good. The overall, I'm going to give this one an S tier. This game is one of my favorite games of the series. The Crossbow arc is my favorite arc. And now for the next game, which is Trails to Azure. And considering that I already said that, you know, this arc is my favorite arc, it's not going to be surprising that I'm also going to give this one an S tier, because this game this essentially improves on everything from Trails from Zero. Like in terms of story, like gameplay, like everything going on, like everything that happens in this game is just amazing. Like this, in my opinion, this game's a 10 out of 10 game. Like this is like probably one of the best like GRPGs of all time, in my opinion. This is one of my favorites. Trails to Azure. It has a really good story. You get to see the characters grow a lot more. They answer some lingering plot threads that that are left a little bit unanswered in the first game. And yeah, again, I would try to delve more into it, but you know, I need to get into spoilers, and like I said, I don't really want to spoil too much in this here. But yeah, Trails to Azure, yeah, it's a phenomenal game, one of the best games in the Trails series. Okay, so now we're going to go to Trails of Cold Steel. So when it comes to this, Trails of Cold Steel is the very first game that I played out of the Trail series, and this is what kind of got me into the series. So partly because of that, I'm going to give this one an A. Like, I know this one does have its own fair share of issues, like it kind of falls into the same category with Trails in the Sky, where it can feel a little bit slow. But I feel like this one does the world building a lot better compared to Trails in the Sky. And it gives you time to like learn a little bit about the characters too. Like, they kind of like make a lot of the cast in this game fairly interesting compared to how the characters are in Trails in the Sky. Sorry about that, excuse me. So yeah, so in terms of characters, I think this one does a good job. It has really good world building as well. Very good world building. This one also introduces more social sim elements that kind of came from the Persona series. Like, you can tell this game was very heavily inspired by the Persona games in terms of social sim elements. Now, it's not really that much of a main focus. Like, you can go through the game just skipping it, and you can still get like a decent amount out of it. The one downside is that you won't really learn that much about the characters. Like we won't learn as much about the characters if you don't do the social sim element. So it is highly recommended to do so that way you can kind of like learn about them as much as possible. So yeah, like, I know that like a lot of people Like in terms of like the comparison to Trail series, people would normally rank this one lower compared to the other ones. But considering that this is a game that kind of, you know, got me to play the rest of them, that's why I ranked this one at A, because especially with the way that this game ended. Like as soon as this game ended, I loaded up Cold Steel 2 because I need to know what happened next, and from there I marathoned all of the other games. So yeah, in terms of ranking, this one I give an A on the tier list. So for the next game, Trails of Cold Steel 2. So Cold Steel 2, I'm probably going to give this one. A lot of people are going to be surprised where we're going to put this one. So this one I'm going to give a B. The reason why is because even though I think that the story is good, I think that overall the game is fairly good. I have some problems the way that they kind of made some decisions in the story. Like I feel that like they kind of make the characters contradict themselves and kind of become hypocrites in some parts of the story. And I think the game fell apart a lot during the last act. Like the last act of this game, I feel went on for way too long. And I feel that the way they kind of like do like a fake out with the ending, make you think like that's where the game's going to end, and then just keeps going unnecessarily. I really feel like they didn't really need to have the epilogue part in the game, because the epilogue part kind of made things worse, in my opinion, because it felt like the game was just dragging on for the sake of adding hours. Like I really feel like they did not need that. Like that next epilogue part, it should have ended with the finale, because this game actually has 2 credit scenes, which is crazy. Like the game has like an end credit scene which makes you think like the game is over, and then it keeps going unnecessarily for no reason. Like I really feel like they need all of that. They should have just ended it at the first credit scene with a little bit of an epilogue at the end. That's all they needed. They didn't need all that other extra stuff. It went on for way too long. So that's why I give this one a B. Like overall, it is still a good game, but like I said, some things with the story, I feel like they kind of made Class 7 hypocrites in this one, and the fact that that, you know, the last act kind of fell apart for me is why I give this one a B. Alrighty, now for the next game. So for that one, I'm going to go for Cold Steel 3. So this one I'm going to give an S tier. I feel like in terms of the Cold Steel 3, in my opinion, is the best game in the Cold Steel series, the Erebonia arc. Like in this one, the new I did like the new Class 7 cast a lot. Like I feel like each of them were also very unique and kind of built off each other very well. And having Reen as the instructor to kind of teaching them also was very interesting also as well. This one also doesn't suffer from from the pacing issues that the other Cold Steel games had as much. I feel like they also did a much better job, like with the characters' motivations, not making them as much hypocrites as they did in Cold Steel 2. And also as well, the ending to this game is probably one of the most insane endings I've ever seen in a video game. Like, for those of you who played it, you know. Like, that ending, it's a good thing that, like, when I started playing this series, Cold Steel 4 is already out, because if I had to wait a year to play Cold Steel 4 after seeing the ending, I would have been so pissed. I had to wait a year just to see what happened next, but thank goodness that the game was already out in North America by the time I finished it, so I was able to just go ahead and jump right into Cold Steel 4, no problem. So yeah, again, this one also is a phenomenal game, phenomenal story. I like the changes that they did to the combat system as well with the Brave Order system, where you can like give commands to like essentially like give like status buffs to like your party members. In this game, if you didn't know what you were doing, you could break the game fairly easily with the Brave Order system. Also, if you put your characters the right quartz, it's also kind of funny. But like overall, I still felt like the gameplay was much improved from the other games. So yeah, this one I'm going to give an S tier. Okay, so now for Cold Steel 4. Now, I know this one is also one that like a lot of people don't like because of some of the pacing issues that this game has. Like a lot of people complain about certain things, but this one I also did like a lot. Like I think this one was kind of a good wrap up to the entire Cold Steel saga. Like a lot of the characters do get like the resolution here in terms of like their arcs and stories and where they're going to go next. I felt like the build up, they paid off what happened at the end of Cold Steel 3 very, very well. They also did a good job of tying a lot of things together from the other games as well. Like pretty much every character in the Cold Steel series up to this point makes an appearance in this game. Like a lot of people kind of call this the Avengers Endgame of the Cold Steel series, and I can see why. like this game did do a lot, and again, it in my opinion, it is an amazing game. So yeah, this one I'm gonna give an S tier. Okay, so now for Trails into Reverie. So I don't know why they have this game here twice, but whatever. So for Trails into Reverie, this one I'm going to give an A. Like I feel like in terms of like story and everything, this game isn't as good as the others. Like gameplay wise, not much has changed, and not much has changed compared to Cold Steel 4. They did add some improvements. Like the main difference is on this one, you get to play as you get to do 3 different story scenarios. There's like 3 different like main characters, but like I feel that like in terms of the 3 characters, only one storyline like I felt like was really top notch, which was C's storyline in this one. In this one, you also do get to play as Reen again, who's the main character of the Cold Steel series, and you also get to play as Lloyd as the main character in this one too. But I felt that their stories weren't as good as C's story. I feel like C's story was the better of the 3. Like all of them are still pretty decent, but I still felt C's was like the best one. And this one, I feel like it was a pretty decent epilogue to the series. So yeah, like so in terms of this one, like I still recommend playing this one if you like the other Trails games, especially Cold Steel 3 and 4. Like it still did a pretty good job of capping things off and kind of leading into the next game. But like in terms of like how it really leads into it, this game doesn't really explain too much about like how that really works. It still kind of feels self-contained. Like I don't know, maybe it gets explained more in Koro no Kiseki 2, but like it's from playing Koro no Kiseki 1, it didn't really like show how this game gets tied into this one. So I guess I need to play the second one to come out, or I guess the new name for Koro no Kiseki is now Trails. I think it's Trails from Daybreak or Trails Beyond Daybreak. I need to look up what the name is again. But yeah, now we've come to the end of the tier list with the last game, which is Koro no Kiseki, or I think the name for it now is Trails Beyond Daybreak. Let me look up the name again, because I keep forgetting what it's called now in English. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just looking up what the name is again. Oh, it's Trails Through Daybreak. Okay, so Trails Through Daybreak is the official English name. So yeah, this one I played a fan translation of it last year, and I enjoyed it a lot. Like I feel like this one, like in terms of like story and everything and gameplay, is probably the best evolution of the series that we've gotten so far. So in terms of game, like the gameplay got completely overhauled in this one. I really dig the story in this one as well. Like in this one, you play as a new character Vaughn, who's kind of like a mercenary for hire kind of person who'll take on like any job, and I really did like Vaughn a lot as well. His character. One of the things I did like too is that this time around, as for the new arc, they kind of went with the character who was much older and more experienced. So in this one, Vaughn is in his mid-20s, and they kind of changed it up a bit from going from like the coming of age stories that they had in the previous games to Vaughn being like kind of more experienced, kind of like knowing what he's doing with his job a little bit more, instead of like stumbling through his job like the other characters did during the start of their arcs. Like this one, I did kind of appreciate them. Yo, KP, what's up? Welcome in. Welcome into the stream. Hope your day is going well. But yeah, this one, I did appreciate a lot that, you know, we did get a much older character. Because now, as with myself getting older, like I do kind of appreciate what games kind of like make characters that are a bit older, so I kind of relate to them a little bit more. So him being in his mid-20s, I did like a lot. And making him a more experienced character did also help a lot, because he's already kind of in the know about like a lot of things that are going on in the world of this game. Is not naive. He understands a lot of the things that are going on, so kind of acts as like the guy that will explain things to us, rather than like him getting explained things about how the world works. In this game, which I like. Again, gameplay in this one is improved quite a bit. So in this one, the turn-based. I feel like the turn-based battle system is probably the best it's ever been, compared to all the other games. It also does have a action system, which I feel like it was kind of an afterthought, because you can't really do much in the action combat. You can do like maybe one attack and one art, and that's it. It's only really used to like get rid of trash mobs quickly. Other than that, you're going to be using the turn-based mode most of the time rather than the action mode, which is fine for me, because I prefer the turn-based mode more than the action mode anyways. So, but yeah, in terms of rating for this one, again, I'll give this one S tier. From playing this one, it also is a really good jumping in point for the series. Like this story for the game is fairly self-contained. I'm not really sure if the second game for Daybreak kind of pulls in more stories from the other games. So I'll have to play this one myself to kind of see. But yeah, when most people play this one next year, I feel like a lot of people are going to say it's their favorite one. For me playing it, I think a lot of people, when they get to play the Trails Through Daybreak, are going to be in for a treat, and they're going to like it a lot. Oh, it's going great. But yeah, this kind of concludes the tier list that I have. So again, this is where I grade everything. Also, as well, I will try and make this into a YouTube video later on. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be, but hopefully I can have that out sometime next week, hopefully. But yeah, I'm gonna try and make this into a video later on, and